This is DearMamaSal, and it's a very chilly -3 as I am here in Canada, and 27 if you're in the States. Very chilly. I've just had to scrape the ice off my car. There's no doubt about it. We're into the bad stuff starting now. So, and today is Thursday. That was so funny yesterday. Yeah, you see, my clock was right. I don't know what got into me yesterday that I thought it was Tuesday and not Wednesday. I obviously needed more time in my week. It was really quite funny. And it sort of came to me by the time I got into work, and I looked at all the calendars at work, and I went, oh my gosh, it really is Wednesday. Anyway, so today is Thursday. I do know that now. I hope some of you got a doofus laugh out of it. And I certainly did chuckle. I went, oh yeah, they must think I really lost it now, which apparently I had. It was oops. I hate it when the traffic lights do that to me. And I know that it's Thursday morning, I need to get to work now. Anyway, other than the fact that it was a little bit traumatic about what day it was to start with yesterday, I had a really good day yesterday. And I had a good evening, touching wood, no problems with the uploads, everything seemed to go well. Now, I'm not quite sure what the issue was, but I do seem to find that it's getting easier to answer people's comments now. It's still more difficult than it used to be, but it seems to be getting easier to answer them than, say, a week ago. So those of you who are also got your own channels, perhaps you can give me some feedback on that, whether you're finding that as well, because for about a week there, and definitely for a couple of solid days, it was like almost impossible to reply to anybody's comment. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I really try and answer comments. I make that a point when I get home, and sometimes, during the day, just to answer what comments I can, and hopefully get through the whole lot by the end of the evening. And I don't know why that's always been important to me, but it has. And I realize that if I ever hit what I call the big time, that won't be possible. But until then, it is. And that's how I feel about it. I think if you're kind enough to leave a comment, the least I can do is reply to it. So, and whilst the numbers are still manageable, I will continue to do that. And I know that for some of you that's important. For some of you, you probably don't give a damn, but it's okay. I'll do it anyway. So, I just have been getting some really cute comments recently. Now, what was interesting was some of the comment that I got back in regard to whether vloggers are happy people or whether vlogging makes you happy. And it is an interesting fact, but I think the consensus was that most vloggers are happy people. It would be very difficult to keep up the pretense of being happy if you were not a happy sort of person to start with. And I think that was the overall consensus, and I am inclined to agree with you that whilst anybody can put on the smiley face for a quick broadcast, I think to do it day in, day out over a long period of time would be very difficult if you were not a happy person, or at least basically happy. And as I keep trying to say to people who, I try to encourage people to become vloggers if they think they would enjoy it, but I also try to give them the reality that it's far more work than anybody tells you. And because the first couple of vlogs you put up, and it might be a little bit of a challenge, but you're smart enough to know, okay, fine, over time this will get easier. But funny enough, over time the demand gets greater. When I say the demand gets greater, I remember a year ago, I would be really happy if I got 3 vlogs up a week. I mean, I would consider that a great achievement, and maybe a broadcast. So understand that that's a whole different ball of wax now. It's not that I feel I have to put up 7 vlogs a week, because I don't, but I probably put up close to 5 a week minimum these days, and do 1 to 3 broadcasts at least a week, sometimes 4. So, and those broadcasts, you understand, can be anything from 2 to 6 hours. So that eats up a lot of time. So those of you who are thinking of doing it, there are 2 different things. One is the vlogging, which is the easier part, if you like, and the other is the broadcasting. And that's something else again. I think you've got to have a certain personality to be able to do that and enjoy it. Also, it really helps if you great people with you. I've been very fortunate. We have sort of what I call a core group of people that are never short of topics to discuss, or very rarely do we dry up on topics that we'd like to talk about. And so that makes it fun. So the issue that I heard about was that what makes vlogging uncomfortable for some people is when the haters come out, and obviously that is horrible. You've got to have quite a solid ego to be able to cope with the haters. And I've had them come out at me a couple of times, and I just, I really must admit that I sort of look at it and go, what? And the first question I nearly always ask myself is, what on earth did I say that created that much anger? That's the first thing that confuses me. What did I say? And I think one person made the comment that because of that a lot of vloggers keep it very plastic, because they don't want to get too in-depth on anything, because you end up with a hailstorm of haters. And to me, it's just like, I've never thought of it. I've never actually thought, well, I better not be too controversial. I just don't think I am overly controversial to start with on issues. And I do try and speak to both sides of them, and hopefully in that find balance. But you can never tell the rationality of the person listening or watching. So you can say something quite normal and balanced, and as you all know, somebody who wants to perceive it the wrong way will. And you've all got families enough to know that one, if you know what I mean. So it's a really, I've got things flying around in my car. I don't know what they are. It's like baby moths or something. But I thought it was a really interesting bit of feedback that we got there from that one viewer that was talking about that even happy vloggers end up being a little bit less happy once the haters come out. And that's, as I said, you need a strong ego. You need to really know who you are and what you're about. And that yesterday or the day before, about the prison of worrying about what other people think of it. But on the other hand, there is also the reality that be aware and be respectful. So I think, if you do things that are disrespectful to people, you will get a lot of disrespect back. And I'd like to believe that on the whole, if you're respectful, you get a fair amount of respect back, although I have seen it. And I've certainly seen it on Benji and Judy's channel, where they have done things that I did not in any way think were disrespectful of anybody. And yet, they came crawling out of the woodwork to judge. So, who knows? It's a beautiful day. There is a slight cloud cover, which I think is going to be shifting along, because it really feels like it's going to be a cold. It's -4 already here. It's going to be cold. It's 25 in American. It's going to be cold but sunny by the look of it, which is lovely weather. I don't think too many people mind it being cold but sunny. And if you're not outside standing unsuitably closed, in other words, I would not like to be a homeless person in -4 degrees. But I do think that most of us who are in warm cars and warm homes, -4 degrees is not a major issue. And even walking around in it, as long as you've got a halfway decent coat, is refreshing, I think some people say. It's not so cold that your ears want to have an issue. Mind you, I'm sort of glad I'm not smoking anymore. Oh, I forgot to check how many days that is. We must be getting up there now. We're getting close to a year. But I can remember being a smoker that, standing out for 7 minutes, because that's what it used to take. Standing out for 7 minutes in -4 degrees, I think you did feel it and your hands felt it. Or the one hand that you had out holding the script felt it, and your ears felt it. That was the other thing. So, I don't miss that part at all. But I must admit that it's very difficult when I've got a smoker in the house. It's very difficult to ignore the fact. And she's doing really well. She's probably only having a handful of cigarettes a day that I see. But I am so sorry. I forgot that I had that on all the time. I hope you've been able to hear this. Anyway, she's only had a handful of cigarettes a day. But even so, I can really feel that, wow, wouldn't that... No, it wouldn't. I have to keep reminding myself, because part of me goes, oh, it would be so nice to have a cigarette now, and then I just go, no, it wouldn't. And the reason it wouldn't is because there's no such thing as one cigarette. I am very, very aware of the fact that that's what got me the last time. I can remember it very well. Well, if I have one cigarette, it won't be the end of the world. One cigarette is not going to kill me. And then, of course, in no time at all, that one cigarette became 2, and not going to kill me. And then 3, 4, 5, 5 cigarettes, okay. Isn't a doctor alive that's going to think you got a major health risk if you have 5 cigarettes a day, and then the next thing you know, it's 20. So I know one cigarette is not an option for me. Because I believe the chances of my losing control and gaining it again in my lifetime are probably not good. I'm really sort of looking forward to the 1 year of this because I've never done a year before. I think the most I ever did before was 9 months, and I'm past that already. And then something very stressful happened that I ended up smoking again. So I'm actually quite chuffed, remember that word? I'm quite chuffed with the fact that I've got this far. Now, about the Battle of the Bulges, we've been discussing that off and on, and I did weigh myself this morning, and the good news is I haven't put any weight on, which, considering that I have not been fastidious about checking what I'm eating or doing exercise or whatever, is pretty darn good. I'm pretty pleased with myself. So now the trick is to get some exercise put in there, drink more water or more liquid at least, and I've brought a soup. What did I bring for lunch today? Soup, a slice of homemade bread to have with my soup, and what did I bring as well? Something else. Wasn't watermelon because I've run out of watermelon, and an apple. Soup and an apple for lunch. And the soup is homemade beef barley with lots of vegetables in it. It's very tasty. I'm very proud. And lots of beans in it because that's protein. And then I have an apple for an afternoon snack, which I've been bringing to work for the last 3 days and not had an opportunity to have an afternoon snack. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, and obviously the last few days I haven't, and I ended up just bringing this apple to and fro work every day. I'm going to really try and eat it today. Really quite funny. So I wonder how your day is going. And gee, aren't you looking good? I know a lot of you like that bit. And some of you probably need a hug, so let me give you a virtual hug. The comments I get back tell me that some of you really do learn from these vlogs, so I'm delighted to hear that. And I do try and give you a little bit of balance in terms of not make them all too serious, but I also wanted to make sure that I keep them pretty real. And it was an interesting thing because when that particular viewer said to me, well, you know, a lot of vloggers become plastic people, you know, for fear of bringing on the haters sort of thing. I actually, my reply was, that is not my experience of the ones that I know. The ones that I know actually are pretty nice people through and through. And in fact, if you knew some of them, you'd find out they're probably even nicer people than you thought they were, which is scary, but it can be true. And so to me, it's about, it's really great that you want to watch and that you want to learn, because I know if you're a DearMamaSal viewer, you have to want to learn stuff, or you want to understand stuff better, maybe things that happened in your life or things that didn't happen in your life. And I know if you're a DearMamaSal viewer, you must be somebody who has great compassion because of my doofus moments, and that you also have a beautiful sense of humor most of the time, because I don't think you could watch my stuff if you didn't have a sense of humor. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to laugh at. Hopefully, when some of you watch and listen, you actually get to laugh at yourself a bit. And that's why I actually don't have any fear about telling you about my less than stellar moments. I've obviously got a bra strap that's driving me insane today. anyway, it's my less than stellar moments, some moments that are definitely not as brilliant as others. Because I think, it's all about the reality. I don't think life is all happy or all sad or all organized or disorganized. Oh yeah, I did another 10-minute challenge yesterday. That's really working for me. I've got this little routine that I'm doing now. I come home, I have my dinner. Well, I have a cup of coffee, then I have my dinner, and then I sit down, and before I get into the job of the uploads and all those other things that I do for the rest of the evening, I go, okay, fine, 10 minutes. Before you start anything, because once you start, you're going to be sucked in for a long time. So before you start anything, what are you going to do for 10 minutes? And I just look around and go, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And it's really amazing how much I got done. Now, do I think I've still got a month's worth of work ahead of me? Yep, but it's okay. And it's really fun when you guys give me back what you've been doing, because it doesn't feel like I'm the only bozo here. But on the other hand, it's okay if you don't want to do it. I think that being who you are is the most precious gift in lots of ways. If being who you are makes you happy. I wonder if that's pretty interesting. If being who you are makes you happy, because I know a lot of people who want to be who they are, but then complain about being sick or sad or whatever. So I think being happy about your life is one of the greatest gifts there is. Now, I understand anxiety, and I understand what it's like to be on a budget, and I understand that people will judge my ability to be happy very differently from the way that they judge their own. And I, like a lot of you, I'm on a limited budget. And I am well aware that the things I'd like to do and the things I can do are very different. And I'm listening to all the plans about the weekend. I'm going away for the girls' weekend, and I'm listening to all the plans there, and there's part of me getting a little concerned because what if they all want to go out for meals all the time? I will not be able to afford that. So the trick is just to be honest about that, or go out and just don't eat much. So this is called, just make a plan within your thoughts. Which is what life is about, really, isn't it? It's no different. And I know that everybody's idea of a weekend away is very different. And, it was funny because I heard things about, shopping and hiking and doing stuff like that. And I was honest, and I wrote back and said, I must admit, my idea of a weekend away isn't shopping and hiking. But I'm flexible enough to go with the flow, or smile sweetly and say, I'll see you later. And I don't think that makes me antisocial. It just makes me, I'd like to have a really great weekend. So we will see what happens. I'm sure I will do a little of everything. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, have a really great day if you choose to. Bye for now.